When counting your blessings, do not exclude your wounds. Painful experiences are not mere accidents. They are opportunities you have patiently awaited to find the direction of your being, to live life earnestly. As the English poet W.H. Auden said, if that event hadn't occurred, you would have sought another similar experience. There was once a woman who dreamed of becoming a psychotherapist. Raised in a privileged home, she yearned to heal those suffering from emotional wounds. After graduating college and settling into a comfortable marriage, she enrolled in graduate school to pursue her dream. Soon after, misfortune struck. Her only son suddenly collapsed and passed away from an unknown illness. Before the pain could subside, she discovered her husband's infidelity. Turning a deaf ear to accusations and reproach, he simply left her. 10 months later, she found herself burying her father, her steadfast protector and pillar of strength. Suppressing the overwhelming grief, she reflected deeply on the events that had unfolded. It seemed as if turning back time would magically bring them all back. She was no longer anyone's mother, wife, or daughter. As the identities she had clung to vanished, she confronted, for the first time, profound questions about her existence. The tempestuous waves of life had cast the question, "Who are you?" at her feet. Gradually, she began to listen to the essence of her being underlying the sorrow. She realized that being wounded by truth was preferable to being comforted by lies. When the soul awakens, what is lost becomes inconsequential. Today, having weathered both graduate studies and life's harsh lessons, she works as a psychotherapist. One who can ask, "I too am in pain, but are you all right?" embodies what Carl Jung called the wounded healer. Healing comes in waves, waves that knock us down, but also propel us to rise again. When the body is cut, it's said that physical, emotional, and spiritual healing systems are immediately mobilized, emerging more vibrant than before. MurrayPerahia, hailed as the pianist's pianist, faced an unexpected adversity in his mid-40s, at the peak of his career. A seemingly insignificant cut on his right thumb from a music score led to a severe infection, causing bone deformity. 2 major surgeries forced him away from the piano for years. For a pianist, being unable to play is akin to losing one's identity. However, Perahia speaks of this period as a time of unprecedented growth. Away from the keyboard, he found time to contemplate music broadly, pondering the thoughts behind composers' notations. When he returned to performing, he had ascended to a higher plane, becoming more meditative and contemplative, earning him the title Lyric Poet of the Keyboard. His post-recovery recording of Bach's Goldberg Variations charted for 15 weeks, beloved by many. His performances now carry the gratitude of a man who has overcome adversity, offering thanks to the divine. Perhaps every wound has a purpose. It's conceivable that we don't heal our wounds, but rather, our wounds heal us. They precisely indicate which aspects of ourselves need transformation. In retrospect, what I perceived as wounds were inseparable from my journey to find my authentic self. Within life's intricate tapestry, those painful segments were interwoven with moments of blessing. Interestingly, blessing, in French, shares its etymology with blesser, meaning to wound. When counting our blessings, we must not exclude our wounds. A young man, having lost a leg to bone cancer, found himself mired in despair and hatred towards the healthy. His tragedy, experienced before truly living life, manifested as sorrow and anger. In his first art therapy session, he depicted his body as a vase, heavily shaded with black crayon and bearing a large crack. Years later, after continued art therapy and rehabilitation, his therapist showed him that initial drawing. He remarked, "Oh, this picture isn't finished." When invited to complete it, he pointed to the cracks, saying, "Look here. This is where the light enters. He then used a yellow crayon to illustrate the bright light emanating through the vase's fissures. As an anonymous sage once said, life isn't about how to survive the storm, but how to dance in the rain. Chogyam Trungpa, a Tibetan spiritual master, posited that a spiritual warrior must have a broken heart. Without it, one lacks the qualifications of a warrior. Pain that can be imbued with meaning isn't a fall, but a rebirth, the commencement of a new journey. In Catholicism, this pain is termed felix culpa, a fortunate fall, as the wound leads to salvation. The Lakota Sioux, a Native American tribe, believe that one is closest to the divine when experiencing pain and immersed in sorrow. It's during these times that the shell of the ego shatters. Thus, they regarded the wounded and suffering as sacred beings, often requesting them to pray on their behalf, believing their prayers to be the most earnest and powerful. Thich Nhat Hanh, a Vietnamese monk, shared, "Long ago, I contracted a virus that caused my lungs to bleed. I had to expectorate blood frequently. Breathing with such lungs was incredibly difficult, and finding happiness while breathing was even more challenging. After treatment, my lungs healed, and my breathing improved significantly. Now, as I breathe, all I need is to remember the time when my lungs were infected. And with each breath I take, it feels so delicious and wonderful." I posit that wounds might be life's method of calling us inward from the external. While it would be ideal to discover our true selves and life's direction without wounds, it seems the soul intuitively knows when hardship is necessary. And importantly, that our lives are greater than our wounds.